This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Well, joining us today is Kieran Mosera, the CEO of Cadence Minerals, following a financing MOU signed for the Amapa iron ore project. Thank you very much for joining us today. Kieran, how are you doing?
Very well. And yourself, Mark?
Yes, very good. Thank you, Kieran. Thank you very much for joining us today. Of course, this is pretty significant news for the company, the market reacting very positively to this news. But I wonder if you can just, in your own words, explain the key points from this announcement that the company made yesterday.
Yeah, as you pointed out, it's significant news because it provides a very clear pathway, certainly we believe, for the construction and the development of the Amapa iron ore project, of which we just own under 33%, as announced as well in our announcement yesterday. But what is it? I mean, in essence, what we have tried to do is get a large multinational, well-renowned company called Sinoma, which is a Chinese state-owned company, to provide a pathway to the development of the project. So what they have agreed to do is they will provide a definitive feasibility study. That is the study required prior to you constructing the project. They have also agreed to provide a fixed price engineering, procure and construct package, which means that after you finish the DFS, then they will provide a full turnkey solution, and it's for a fixed price. Now, this is all subject to, in essence, being competitive, and we have a right, if it's uncompetitive and the DFS is incorrect, we have a right to refuse it and say sorry. But that gives them that right. On their side, what they're doing for us is, because of who they are, being a very large construction company, have done cement factories internationally around the world, about 80 countries around the world, and almost 14, thousands of cement factories. They have access to the debt financing that is typically required for these type of projects, these large engineering and construction projects. So what they are doing is they're going to use their best commercial efforts to get the financing for the construction and the development of the Amapa project. And they'll get they'll include all the necessary guarantees, the project finance insurance, and the debt financing. And they're already in discussions with Sinosure China Export, which is the insurance side of it, and the China Development Bank for the debt financing portion of this. So what we have got here is a very large part of the puzzle for the construction of the Amapa project, which will, for anyone that's coming in at the project level, for our JV, for the DFS, adds a high level of surety that we have had it reviewed, and there is a major partner going to be involved at this stage, Sinoma, to do the DFS and construct the project.
And this is, as you say, it's a very significant piece of the puzzle, but it's almost one step ahead, which is a nice thing. You've got the ability there. Obviously, it's not without risk, but there is the ability there to then fund the construction of the Amapa iron ore project. But with the DFS, then, what does it mean for the DFS? Because, of course, that's got to come first, hasn't it?
Yeah, so the DFS, or what we call the basic engineering, has to come first prior to, of course, constructing it. And so what this does do is, as I said, we've always said that we want to bring in a JV partner at the project level for the DFS. We still continue to pursue that. And we are funding our investment at the moment for all the licensing through our cash flow, from Cadence's cash flow, hence the increase in the percentage as we've moved along. And so having them as a partner at the potential partner at the debt level, and the DFS, preparing the DFS, adds surety for any JV partners that want to come into the project level to fund the definitive feasibility study. I mean, our targets this year were, and I think I mentioned one of them, was to get an MOU or JV. I think we've achieved that MOU with this announcement. And one of them, I think next, and, accelerate the licensing, which we also did this year. And I think the next thing the thing that we'll be doing for next year is embarking on that DFS and completing it to align with the completion and the grant of the licenses next year, so that at the end of next year, we have a fully licensed project with a DFS complete and a potential funding partner there who are doing their best commercial efforts to construct it. So if everything aligns properly, as I think I said to you beforehand, subject to getting the financing in place, we should be able to start construction at the end of next year. Obviously subject to commercial contracts and binding agreements. But, there is a plan and a strategy there to get to that point.
Okay, so hopefully starting construction end of next year. Okay, well, that's very good to hear. So just on the DFS there again, so this is not funded by Sinoma, but they will provide it. So now you've got to look for funding for that, a joint venture to come in at that project level. How is that going?
It's going well, and obviously I can't say much more about that. I mean, we have a data room, it's been open, and if there's something significant to announce, we'll do so.
In theory, I would say that if the fact that you've got funding now to construct it, that would almost make people more interested. Is it fair to say, do you think? Because it de-risks it a bit?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying, is that any potential JV partner coming on board will then go, well, what's the next stage? Is there a path to the next stage of construction? Because that's equity money coming on board at a DFS level, and having Sinoma involved to one, do the DFS, two, best commercial efforts to fund the project, is a stamp of approval, so that those that are investing the equity at the project level will then have a nice, clear path to construction.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. That all makes a lot of sense. It's certainly very positive developments. As I say, the share price was up, I think, around 50-60% as of yesterday. And I believe that this morning there's an announcement been made that you indeed yourself have, been cleansed of any internal RNS's announcements, and you've actually bought more shares yourself as well. So you're clearly feeling a lot of confidence about the future prospects of the project.
Yeah, absolutely. I do buy shares in the company when I have the chance to. And I think, between the board, we've probably invested somewhere in the regions of £500,000 into the project, into the company over the years, and myself close to £200,000 into the project. So it's not an insignificant amount, and we do encourage our board members to, where they can, be aligned with the shareholders by buying in the market. Suffer both the gains and, unfortunately, in the last year, not so good performance of the AIM market and consequently Cadence.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Kieran Mosera, the CEO of Cadence Minerals.
Thank you, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.